Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon, April 16th, halfway through the trading month. And you're looking at the window traders market profile here of SPY, ES, IWM, triple Qs. And we have to give, we just have to give accolades to the bulls for everything. We have to.
All aboard! Bye, bye, bye!
They just keep going higher. We played Ain't No Stopping Us Now this morning. Right now, might as well do that for now until we see when this is going to finally end. Anybody who continues to try to step in front of this market is just jumping out a window. By the time they catch it, they'll be down so much. And you know what? They'll catch the first dollar on the downside and they'll miss the next 100. So, like we said, if you don't want to be a buyer in this market, stay on the sidelines and watch it. Because every time frame is up right now. Volume 73 million today. It's the best we've done the last 10 days or so. But again, that's because of expiration. We made a new high today in SPY and ES. We made a new high. We made a new high in a bunch of things today. The only thing we didn't make a new high in is basically the NASDAQ Composite and the Russell. Now, triple Qs still have their all-time high in the pre-market, which they never got. Incredibly, we had opening drives down basically in all three of these. For the most part, all we did, folks, is trade inside of A's range all day. Yes, we extended it in KL and M, but we basically trade inside of A's range the entire day. That's all we did in IWM. We never got out of it. This is 2 days in a row. Now, I don't keep any stats on this at all, but this is 2 days in a row. IWM did not take out either side of the IB. And the triple Qs, literally an open and drive down, spent all day trying to get it back to it, F, G, L, and finally an M, make a new high. And my best trade of the day came in A period, and B period in SPY. The trade I missed today, I was really upset about, is the long in J in triple Qs. So let's go over what went on today, and then we'll go over all the charts and all these as we head into the second half of April. So triple Q, the trade I was looking to take, even though it was an open and drive down, value was overlapping to higher. We were in spitting distance of the all-time overnight high. So when we had a wide pocket at the time, so when J period came down, I told the room I will be looking to get long NQ once we take out eyes high and get around value low and towards half back. Well, I tried to get it, and they didn't give it to me. J opened, popped down. I tried to buy them, didn't get it, and it literally ripped up, and I didn't feel like chasing it, and I didn't. Probably should have, but I didn't, so I missed that. An incredible trade. I missed about 80-cent move literally in a couple of minutes. So that would have been a really nice trade. I was looking to buy three of the NQs. Didn't happen. You move on. So what I did then after that, I'll go to Russell before we go to SPY, is I kind of looked to do the same thing that I thought might happen in IWM today, where we get an afternoon rally high, even though value was overlapping a high, their POC was down here, so I shorted J period, shorted 3 of the righty, came in a little bit, I made money on 1, and then when K started, took out J's high, went above D's high, said that's it, that's my out, got out, lost small on 2. So I lost on the trade, but nothing big. Yesterday I made on that trade, even though it still didn't do what I thought it was going to do. And then let's go to SPY and ES. So SPY opens on a gap, fills the gap in B period. Basically what we got today is something we haven't gotten in a while. We got long liquidation from the overnight, right? All the overnights were long. So we finally got flushes. We haven't seen that in a while. That's all that was. That's all that was. And that's why in A period, when we came down, I ended up getting long 75 calls. I was going to add at B's low. I'm like, they tested the price probe, got into it barely, but I didn't like the fact that B took out A's low to one-time frame down. That's why I didn't add another 50 to go long 125. So I kept the 75 calls, went up, and had a nice trade on it. And then, believe it or not, the only other trade I took a small short in G, which I ended up scratching on. Should have held. I was getting nothing. G took out F's high in SPY. We were one time framing up. I said, forget it. And immediately after I took it off, I scratched on it, and then it came all the way in. It was only a small one anyway. And that's it. Nothing else. And I mean nothing else really caught my eye. I was looking for the long, like I said, in triple Qs and J. I probably could have done the same thing in SPY, but it didn't get that far away from POC. So this would have been a really nice trade. And then again, we just grinded. Nothing really caught my eye, so I didn't do anything. So an okay day, a green day, an okay week. I would just like to get a lot more volume and volatility into this market. Question is, when are we going to get that? Destinations for Monday. One and only one on the upside. 417.91. Weekly high, all-time high. Downside. Remember, we went out with a price probe yesterday and we closed below it. And then look how important it was today when B came down, just barely got into it, and that was it. Right? Well, same thing today. We have a price probe in L. Now we close below it. But right now I'm using L's high, 417.59. Then out 10 wide at 416.56. Now here's another thing to keep in mind. Remember the other day we had that 9 wide POC and we closed below it? I said we could have gone out $100 and it wouldn't matter. Well, it showed you how important that was. We gapped above it, or we opened above it. We haven't seen it since, so it's still there. Well, today, same thing except the opposite. We were 10 for 10 wide. We could have gone up $500 in the last time frame, and that POC wasn't getting raised. So that is something to keep in mind. Something tells me that this market might at least test that on Monday. Question is, are we going to open below it and it becomes an upside destination? So 416.56, 10 wide, E's high. 416.40, J's low, afternoon pullback. 415.73, today's low. 414.89, afternoon pullback low from yesterday. And then you should have the single prints and the daily low and everything else that I gave you from yesterday. Now let's go to the charts and spend some time on all three of these indices. Let's break them down. So let's start with the Russell. Here's the monthly. They have one time framing up 7 months, I think. Yep, 7 months. One time framing up 7 months. Now, halfway through this month, it's an inside month, but that's fine. Because even if it stays an inside month does not stop the one-time framing. What it will do is give us a really good opportunity next month to see which way you come out of that, if we do have an inside month. So the monthly is healthy right now. 7 months straight. Weekly, clear as day balance. Now, we took out last week's low and rallied pretty good the other day, but never could get last week's high. We got up to 226. So they actually had an opportunity to have an outside week up, but never got there and now closed firmly inside of last week's range. So this is clearly still a 4-week balance. 208.03 is the low. 226.69 is the high. I'm sorry, 228.10 is the high. Now, in a smaller balance, you could use the last 3 weeks. So you could use last week's high and 2 weeks ago's low. If you want to do a smaller balance. But bottom line is balance on the weekly. Daily. Look how tight this daily is. Look at the moving average. Daily, believe it or not, is one time framing up 3 days. But what kind of distance did they get away? Not much, right? 222.57, we got up to 226, but the last 3 days we really haven't gotten any distance away. So bulls need to get a little more aggressive. They're barely above the 50, they're barely above the 20-day moving average. So even though they're one time framing up, I would still call this balance for the last 3 days. We had an inside day yesterday, came out of it to the upside, and what did we get for it? Nothing. We opened above it on a gap and came right back in. So, balance on the daily. Triple Qs. Monthly. Balance. It's a 4-month balance. Even though we made a new high, for now I'm calling it balance. We're stretching the balance. The old balance high was 338.19. Right now, 342.23 is this month's high. I am still going to call it balance. We'll see as the month goes on. If we continue to get away from it, then if we close way above the previous all-time high, I will say balance will be up. Right now I'm calling it balance on the monthly. Weekly is up though. Weekly is up. One time framing up 3 weeks. And the daily came out of a 3-day balance basically to the upside, but we closed, we're not far above. What was yesterday's high? 342.01, and today's high is 342.23. So, you can call the daily up if you would like. I would probably call it more balanced to up in the triple Qs. And now let's go to SPY. We'll go top down. Monthly. Up. Not only we one time framing up 6 months, look at the distance we continue to get away from prior months. Last month's high is 398.12. We closed $19 above it right now. Now, is this going to go on forever? Of course not. It could end today. But for now, we're one time framing up 6 months, getting distance away from the prior month's high. Weekly, one time framing up 3 weeks, getting distance away from previous week's highs. And the daily, we got to balance 2 days. We came out of it yesterday and again come out of it up on the daily. We are up 14 out of 15 days, I think, now, as far as one-time framing. 4, 5, 6. Yep, 14 out of 15 days. The only day we stopped one-time framing up, we took it out by 20-something cents. We would have broken a record for one-time framing up set 50 years ago, which is 14 days in a row. We missed it by 20-something cents because Wednesday had to take out Tuesday's low. So, is this healthy to continually go up like this? Not on this kind of volume, although we're at 81 million right now, which is average basically. We need, if you're going to sustain this move, you need real heavy, good volume on the way up. Otherwise, at some point, we may continue to grind higher, but at some point, you'll flush out a lot of these days in one big shot. I hope you had a great day trading. Enjoy the weekend. Come check us out at camelbacktrading.org. And I'll speak prior to the opening on Monday.